May 1st, 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Justin LaBar. Friday Night SmackDown. Here we go. Still Money in the Bank, a little over a week away. We got one more Raw, one more SmackDown between now and then. But tonight we saw some movement on who's going to be in the match on both the men's and women's side. And there's some other stories in the world of wrestling. Matt Morgan, what did you think of tonight's show?
What you hit the nail, I think, on the head as far as the highlights of the show.
Yeah.
Which was all I care about. I can tell you the same way. You just want to press fast forward and get to Money in the Bank already.
Seriously.
By already saying, we've got one Raw, we've got one SmackDown left. You're like the kid on Christmas, counting down the days. But I agree with you. It was hard to watch the show except any portions in which they let us know the participants. So that was cool, at least. And
they said tonight, the men's Money in the Bank and the women's Money in the Bank are going to be happening at the same time.
That's crazy.
This should forget. I mean, I know we got Bray versus Braun. This should be a 2-hour action movie. This should really just be like.
Sure. They should cross over too, by the way. The men and the women should cross over. Where we're like one of like the stronger girls, like freaking just take out one of the guys. You know what I mean? There's so many cool things they could do with that.
Well, I could definitely see. See it being a bit of a buddy cop where you have a guy and a girl to kind of team up and they're trying to get through the building together.
Yes, dude. Yes, that's a great idea.
But I mean, look, it might not be 2 hours, but if you really look at the rest of the card, and I'm sure we'll do our predictions on next Friday for the matches.
How about this?
There's not a ton of other matches, so it's going to have to eat up a considerable amount of time.
Let me add this on to this really quick, Glenn. Let's layer up Justin's little idea there of good cop or buddy cop type of movie they should be doing with this. Not only that, there should be like romance involved in this, where guy and girls like pair up, and who knows, so and so and so and so have romantically linked, and they've decided that they're going to do whatever they can to form a team. They form a team. They backstab their teammates in the back at the last second. They're the last ones to win. There's so many cool things they could do with this. And again, treat it like they're on an island type of movie.
Yeah.
Well, they missed the boat based upon the results. They missed the boat to have both Otis and Mandy in a Money in the Bank to where they could have had a love story in there.
I think Otis will sneak Mandy in, and maybe it comes into play that way. Although I could see Mandy and Sonya being added as a one-on-one match for the night.
Whatever happens, we just have to
really gotten theatrical with this. Is all I'm saying. You're right. They couldn't make a movie out of it. 2 hours. I would have been in.
Whatever happens, we have to see like R-Truth pop out of like a vent, like John McClane style in Die Hard or something. He's got to be creeping around somewhere. I'm looking for Mr. McMahon's office.
So Justin Lopez with the super chat saying that Ryan Satin tweeted the Money in the Bank matches might go on throughout the pay-per-view and they'll check in for updates. See, I think that's.
I don't know how I feel. Yeah, I agree, because it's going to take us in and out of the moment. I don't want to be in and out of the moment.
Yeah, cut between different matches, different matchups. Like, this should be going on simultaneously, but is there anything else? I mean, I'm excited for Drew versus Seth and Bray versus Braun, but really, though, like, this Money in the Bank match just sounds so awesome. This isn't background. This is the centerpiece. Everything else is an appetizer.
With the amount of attention they're putting into it, it should be the centerpiece. I think it is. I think they're trying to be creative by splicing it in because it's been pre-taped, right?
Yeah.
Correct? So they're going to splice it in here and there. I don't think that's a good idea because that takes us out of the element of what we just saw with a different match and whatnot. I just think they should play the whole damn thing. Play it all together.
Yeah. I agree. This is theirs to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, as far as I'm concerned. Like, they could just do a passable job with this concept and people will lose their shit. It's going to be very hard for them to mess this up, but I don't put it past them.
Well, and
do you think, Justin, do you think that they'll make it like again, theatrical, kind of like the Boneyard match and stuff like that? You think we'll see things like that?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some special effects and, obviously multiple cameras and some trick editing. I think the good thing about it is it's rare it's rare to ever say in WWE who's done everything. It's rare to say this is going to be a first for WWE. WWE's pretty much done all the first they can do. So the good thing about them is the bar is kind of low because you have no idea what to,
Well, I'm going to be honest. I do have the Boneyard. I know this isn't fair, maybe, but I am going into this with a lot of high expectations because of the Boneyard match and because, more importantly, what they showed us they could do with Bray Wyatt. Now, if they just did an entire segment where somehow all of them morph in the Bray Wyatt world, oh my God, I would lose my head would explode.
Yeah. There's so much they could do with this. I mean, it's even thinking about it tonight, how they're hyping up that horrible 2K Battleground game for this year. It's like, man, but they could do a pay-per-view where it is more like street fight special effects, like crazy stuff. At this point right now, who cares? I mean, even with the changes happening in Florida and live events potentially coming back soon, I don't see live events being the huge moneymaker for WWE in the near future. I think doing more creative content, boosting their TV rating should be like the number one thing they should try and triage right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say this: even once we're through this pandemic, whether it's a year or whatever it takes, and you're able to have crowds again for sporting events or what have you, I think the days that WWE having these guys do 300 events, 300 days on the road, I think those days are done. I think WWE is done from those days. I think we're going to see even when they can and are capable, are going to have far less house shows and road travel.
You don't think Vince is looking at this? If this wasn't Vince, I'd say you'd be correct. But because it's Vince still at the wheel here, I think he sees it as he's counting down he's marking down in his calendar all of these days they could have been having live events and what the gates would have been predicted at, and how he needs to go get that money again. In fact, I think he'll push them harder.
I don't know.
Do the opposite. Everyone across the country right now is learning something from this and learning and getting better and evolving from it. No, he's going to go opposite.
Matt, if this was like 2 years ago, I would agree with you. But just for the fact that in the last year and a half, the amount of times that we would report and see that they were canceling house shows because the sales were so bad, and that happened so much. That was such a huge headline and talking point we had for the many months leading into this pandemic. I don't know. I feel like the business was already declining there.
But because they're losing money right now, they don't have, and they go back into business one day again. And they have to make that money up. There's only X amount of avenues to go make that revenue back. House shows is going to be one of them. And you forget, when you look at those numbers on those houses, that's not including merch sales. He's got to go out there and sell those T-shirts, sell that merch, and house shows gives you that opportunity to do it. He's going to be needing to find different, I'm telling you right now, revenue streams to make some of this money back.
They should finally do my dream and do in your house, literally in people's houses, auction off the rights.
That is your idea. That is your idea. Yes, it is.
As a kid, I mean, remember MTV did MTV in your house in the 80s, and they did Club MTV in somebody's backyard and like remote control in their living room, and they like hosted MTV News.
I remember Remote Control. Remote Control was the shit. So I love that show. Get over.
Yes. So and then young Adam Sandler, Colin Quinn, Carrie War. So when
Jenny McCarthy should have been your first thing you said.
She was on Singled Out, man, not Remote Control.
Wasn't she on Singled Out after it?
No, Singled Out was was like 95. Remote Control was 87. Yeah. Like way before. No, Jenny McCarthy was not on Remote Control. They did have a weird replacement for Kari Wurr, though, and I can't remember who it is. But anyhow, no, the MTV did an In Your House competition where they literally broadcast an entire weekend at somebody's house. So when I heard WWF In Your House, I was going to be like, come on, guys. Like, this is a golden opportunity. Bring it back.
MTV was the best channel ever when we were kids.
It was
my favorite.
In fact, I would say this, even as a WWE fan, even as an NXT fan, there is no brand, okay, whether it was like Swatch or Guess or Pepsi, there's no brand I have ever identified with more than MTV is like, oh, well, MTV is like the shit. I mean, like more than Disney, more than Marvel even, and I freaking love Marvel, but MTV in the 80s and 90s was an identity.
Do you know why I think as well? And WWF did a decent job at this as well.
Yeah.
Because they, with our generation, Glenn, and our age group, we're both 43, right?
Yeah.
If you go back in time and you go back, we were at the right age, right when MTV opened, when it hit. And it grew with us, and it evolved as we did. WWF, if you go back and watch, it did with us too, from the cartoon wrestling to when we were now in college and we thought it was corny, but then they came back in our lives with Attitude Era because it was cool again. Like, those are the brands that are the best, that are able to take a generation and climb with them and grow with them as they grow.
Absolutely. Same way, we used to go over to friends' houses to watch pay-per-views. I remember early on when we didn't even have cable yet in half of our town, I would go over to friends' houses who had cable and MTV. Like, I didn't even like these kids, but I want to hang out over there.
I think we all have those friends. I feel bad right now because I'm just thinking of a few right now.
Yeah, you're thinking about it. It's like, well, they had cable, dude. Yeah. I mean, come on, in fairness.
Or the kid that would drive.
Yeah.
When you were too young to drive. The kid who was maybe a grade ahead of you.
Yeah. Oh, or like the ones. I remember we kept kosher when I was growing up, so I remember it was like I had a friend and I slept over once and he served bacon, and I was like, "What's this bacon? What's this pork?" So I don't go. Well, I did at the time. I mean, I didn't understand though. I mean, I'm vegan now, so it doesn't matter.
What you thought? Do you remember what you thought?
I liked bacon as a kid. I thought it was a little greasy, a little grizzly, like it was a little fatty, but it was still.
Was that your first experience?
That was my first experience with bacon. Was at a friend's house.
Did you tell your parents when you came home?
I did, and I got a little bit of a talking to, but then
Yep.
let's not rat out any family members, but let's just say there were some exceptions being made, for other people as well. Let's just say, a member of my family who's in the frickin' synagogue profession really likes shellfish. Learned that. So that's not kosher either.
So Wednesday we learned we needed to start having custom titles for each of these episodes. So tonight's episode is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, Glenn's first experience with bacon.
/ Matt is trying to do anything he can to not talk about SmackDown.
Matt, how do you like your bacon? Do you like it hard and crispy, or do you like it like soft and flimsy? I'm soft and flimsy. Oh.
I just switched. Actually, just had this conversation 2 weeks ago with my wife. I said, I don't know what's happening. I don't like it this way anymore.
Huh.
Could you please start like frying it and like totally killing it and overcooking it now and crispy and making it crispy?
Gotcha.
Swear to God. Very good timing, Justin.
I will say vegan bacon is probably like my big go-to comfort food. There are two different brands, and I figured out a way to make them. If I want, what kind of use them? I can have one if I want one. It's a little meatier tasting and one that's crispier and thinner. Like, it's all in how you prepare it, man. But fake meats come a long way. That's a different discussion. We should probably get.
It's true. They have.
Have you had a Beyond Burger yet, Matt?
Oh, are you kidding me? They're shit. They're
They're really good.
Way better than I thought they would be.
Yeah, we just stocked up because with all the meat shortages now, people are coming for my Beyond Burgers. So I got a freezer full of them now. No one's going to deny me that. Anyhow, HJZ.
You're the vegetarian in a beef apocalypse. You're the saving grace right now.
Look where we're at right now, because none of that's beef. It's really impressive, actually. It tastes so good.
HJZ Buck 99. Are there any other matches that's happening on top, or are they going to be at the PC? I think they're going to be at the PC, unless they. Actually, you know what? I could see Brave versus Braun getting the cinematic Firefly Funhouse treatment. That makes sense. Okay. Maybe not like they did with Cena, but they could wrestle in the Funhouse.
Ooh,
maybe
like the cartoon Funhouse.
What
Seth Rollins was?
I mean,
I don't want that. I do not want him wrestling. I want to see any more wrestling in that Funhouse ever again. I don't like it.
Because it's Braun versus Bray and not The Fiend, I think we'll actually see a more traditional match, because I think eventually we're going to see Braun versus The Fiend in a cinematic match.
Okay, I'll take that. As long as we get there.
I
want a bigger story of that black mask, though. I want the black sheep of the family story told more, though.
Yeah, and that was cool. That was cool tonight, how they did that. I really like that promo. Let's see. We got a couple other super chats to get into here. Joey Adorjan saying $2. Didn't Florida say they could have 25% arenas next week? I saw that. I don't know if WWE obviously hasn't announced anything yet. I don't know what's going on with their production schedule or how soon they're going to go back to that. But I would think, I don't know. We talked about this, Matt. I don't think anyone wants to be first right now.
Here's also the problem. Yes, you can have 25% if you're indoors, 25% of your normal capacity, but they still have to be social distancing while inside there. That's the big part of that. So you're going to have people every 6 feet.
Yeah, your fans are going to be scattered.
These small camera shots that they have, they're going to look like there's 5 fans there.
Not to mention in Full Sail and at the PC, if they do set it up, which we've seen before for fans, they do bleachers, and so you're gonna have to do every other bleacher, because you can't have people. You can have a person's knees right on somebody's back in a bleacher.
I have to put big white X's on those bleachers and cross off space, like the restaurant tables you're gonna have to do. Seriously.
You know what it's gonna look like? Remember, like in the earlier WWE video games with the 3D models in the crowd, where it didn't quite look real. Everyone was too far apart from each other. I think it's going to look like that. It's going to look a little strange to see a sea of people all evenly spaced out. It's like give everyone cubicles at that point, or maybe plexiglass shields. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're in unprecedented times. This is going to be even more of an experiment than wrestling without an audience, to have wrestling with a limited audience.
What if everybody just wears like one of those like net masks, like a bee catcher would, so everybody can sit next to each other just with big helmets on just so you can pack them all in tighter.
On, maybe good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think we're going to see people with masks in the audience. I wonder if that's going to fly. I mean, I don't think they're going to prevent anyone, but well, I mean, what are they saying now? The conventional wisdom is if you wear a mask,
if you break social distancing, if you get exposed by accident or by somebody just breaking that social distancing, that's why they do want you to have those masks.
Yeah, and it's more to protect other people.
How can you predict that?
Yeah.
That is that is one of the weirdest things about this right now. I mean, I've gone out. I've had to. I've gone out several times this week for essential things, and I'm an essential employee. And when I'm in a public place and I see people with the when it looks like everybody could be a potential bank robber, and they could, it's just a weird apocalyptic look.
I'm calling it right now.
Why aren't you wearing it? Wait,
why
are you not wearing it?
No, I do have one on. I'm saying it's just I have one on. I'm saying it's odd to be out and I don't know. It's like
okay. I'm calling this right now. WWE, their first event, is going to give out masks customized with different wrestler logos on them.
Sure.
So that's how you're going to show your fandom.
NHL and the
I think that's cool. I would buy that. I think that's cool.
All the
Dallas Cowboy one.
All the sports teams actually just all the sports franchises and leagues just went in on it, and all the money that they're raising from it is going towards the frontline responders.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's a great idea. I think that's more acceptable to the dipshits out there that want to act Joe Tough guy, and instead of wearing it. You know what I mean? I don't believe everybody should be forced to wear it. To be fair, but by the same token, don't not wear it because you think it looks corny. That's the stupidest reason ever not to wear it. Wear it because you have a belief behind it, at least. Even then, I may not agree with it, but you know what I'm saying.
Have you seen online pictures? There's like some luchador style face masks. I mean, I even think with the wrestlers they could do this. It does kind of look like Mortal Kombat.
That's what I thought you first meant at first. Like, in the wrestling fan show, like that at the arena, have like Rey Mysterio looking masks or.
Oh, you could do that too.
But have Roman Reigns' logo, the fist. Have have a Fiend. Oh God, could you imagine a mask with a Fiend style?
Oh shit. Yeah. Or what's his name? What the other one? The come on, Balor.
The Demon. Yeah. I agree. They could do that. No, I agree. But the wrestlers, I mean, it has that kind of Mortal Kombat look. I think it looks kind of badass to wrestle wearing one. If it's like a cool looking mask, I don't know. They could do a lot with it. So unfortunately, we have to talk about. Yeah.
No, we don't. We got one more stall tactic on here, and then we'll start. All right, really quick. Here's the next question.
Yeah,
they do that, and they do have them wear masks in there. Where will the heat be that the wrestlers themselves are not wearing?
See, I think that's why I think the wrestlers could wear them if they're cool and it's part of their gear. You're telling me, like,
it's impossible to breathe in that. No way.
In cloth, even
and the facials,
the facials,
the entire part of these stories and matches, the most important thing, more than the body.
Yeah, I was thinking when Ali had his like how cool that looked with the light up.
How did they do that? How? Yeah, his is dope. But how would you wrestle? Like, I'm telling you guys, I struggled to do a full commission meeting with an actual N95 with the vent in it.
Valve,
and it was so hard.
You have to adjust
to get through an hour of that.
No, seriously, every time I do it, when we had the fires up here 2 years ago, the air was so bad. I was wearing one out and about for about 2 weeks, and probably took me 3 days to get used to wearing it. But I mean, yeah, dude, there was smoke. I mean, the fires went on for weeks, but I mean, there was so much smoke in the air. So it takes you a while to adjust. But I think it's the same way like training with an altitude mask, though, right? Like you could overcome that in theory.
Well, you wear that mask, so when you take it off, it's easier to get oxygen in your lungs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There might be something to it, but we'll see. So,
too much.
Yeah, we'll get through SmackDown, Matt, and then we can talk about other stuff, or we'll try at least. Daniel Bryan versus King Baron Corbin tonight, opening the show. This was such a long match.
I've cared about it but it's the first time I've semi-cared about Corbin in quite a while.
Yeah,
just because Daniel Bryan was in it.
Yeah, good match. I stand by what I said last week. Baron Corbin, he's one of the ones that's harmed the most by not having a crowd. He gets such good heat, and then when you go up against Daniel Bryan, who's one of the best baby faces they have, it was a good match. I just kept going to myself, man. I really wish this one had the crowd to support it.
You're right.
And when they do have crowds there and social distancing, I want Drew Gulak to come out and do a PowerPoint presentation explaining how everyone needs to stand and respect people's space.
Oh, and measure and take a tape measure out, because
yes,
all these people are lying out there in these videos I see saying that, you know, blah blah blah. I say, like, look, folks, I'm 7 feet tall. If I fall on the ground right now, do you think that guy's far enough away from me, or would I touch his feet?
yeah.
Seriously though, because I do see a lot of politicians completely not doing it, and they're saying they are. I'm like, that's like 2 feet, you liars. You know what I mean? So, like, that'd be funny if Drew Gulak started calling fans out, like tape measuring it and shit.
He's the best. I mean, Daniel Bryan tonight talking about him losing the opportunity of Money in the Bank because King Corbin ruined that opportunity due to some help from Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. But we had this match. This actually went on for a decent amount of time. Did ultimately end in a DQ because Corbin used the ladder next to the ramp to hit Daniel Bryan. After the DQ, Corbin threw a fit, went for the end of days. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura came out. Bryan got double teamed. Yeah, I mean, this was a good match to open the show. I just don't know that this is the hottest storyline on SmackDown right now.
Yeah.
Good wrestling, though.
Yeah. Again, bell to bell, fine, but it was kind of like, what's keeping you invested in it?
It was there.
Yes. However, this promo, man, like, I would open with this. Bray Wyatt talking about the history of the Wyatt family and the Black Sheep, doing the story from Wyatt in the Funhouse. Braun's response, like, I love this. I'm really looking forward to this match, and I think they could actually, I'm hoping they develop this even more because there is such a great history between these guys.
There is.
Like, this is, I mean, one of the longer build-ups to a storyline that WWE has done in recent memory.
Because of when they first started as a team, you mean?
Yeah, the history, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because I was going to say, otherwise, as far as to get us there, it's only been a few weeks since Mania.
Yeah.
But as far as a backstory, potentially, then the 3MB storyline. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. I hope they go deeper into the Black Sheep of the family portion of this storyline. I do.
Yeah, which is why, again, it's Bray, it's not Fiend. You know, Bray's going to be face-to-face with Braun next Friday. They promoted. So I think we will get a more traditional.
It makes more sense. It makes more sense, Justin, to have Bray and not the Fiend.
Yeah.
All right? Unless there's some added discovery that this Fiend has somehow always been there. Okay? But he didn't want to let him in until now. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, like, we start finding out Braun saying shit like, oh, the Fiend, we've known the Fiend for years. But you know, Bray's kept him out and kept him in the light this entire time. But he turned over to the dark side. He finally let him in. That's his catchphrase. I don't know. There's something they could do where they could still tie in that Fiend character had always been there. We just never saw it here on TV. We fans never got a chance to see it because Bray did a good job of drowning it out until he finally snapped and broke.
Yeah.
It's also when Braun distanced himself from him. I don't know.
The history they have, the creativity is endless, and the fact that this match, again, because it's going to be in a closed set of the PC, we assume you can do any kind of tricks and editing. I mean, I could see a point to where, I mean, let me put it this way: Braun Strowman is not going to drop the title this quickly, and he's not going to drop it to just plain Jane Bray Wyatt. You know, so but there's a way that they can do this to protect to where, I mean, I could see.
There's not going to be a clean finish either.
No, that's what I'm getting to. So you get to the point where it would be the finish where Braun, you know, hits his running power slam, lights go out, lights come back on, Bray Wyatt is gone.
Upsets Fiend.
Well, Bray Wyatt's gone, upsets Fiend, or lights go out, Bray's gone. We hear the Fiend laugh, and Braun Strowman all of a sudden has a sheet mask on, and he's freaked out. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do with because it's going to be a taped.
That would be cool.
Situation.
I would have a bunch of sheep blood come from the roof too. By the way,
anything is possible. Anything's possible.
This is where, I mean, for aside from the safety reasons, this is where I'm excited for crowds to be able to watch wrestling again, but wrestling in front of crowds again, I don't think it's going to be that exciting. Yeah, I want
to get cool shit.
Yeah,
Bray Wyatt stuff.
Yeah, right. Like, great for the crowds that can go to live wrestling. For the audiences at home, I would take Boneyard, Firefly Funhouse, Money in the Bank style matches. I'll take that over watching people distance 6 feet apart. You know, watching 100%. Wrestling live. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Michael Slazar's $2. Will the AEW pay-per-view beat Daly's place with fans? That is a good question.
I don't see why not. I really don't. It's going to be the 25% stuff, but I don't see why not.
It'll be interesting to. I think it's definitely gonna be a Daily's place. It's gonna be interesting to watch between WWE and AEW who does it first, who's willing to take the risk first, and the potential bad PR of having fans there. Like who's willing to do it first, who's willing, because we learned when they both had to go to situations of going to empty arenas. We learned. We saw AEW shoot everything better at the way they did at Daily's place, shooting into the shooting in hard camera entranceway. All of a sudden, WWE switched theirs, and they so it'll be interesting to see who does the crowds first, and then who learns off of mistakes and this doesn't look good, this is bad policy.
Right.
Who takes the plunge first.
Yeah.
Cool.
Terry Allen Jr. $5. The Money in the Bank matches could be a disaster with the amount of excessive camera cuts and shaking from Kevin Dunn. If it's a cool match in Cinematic, I'll forgive a lot of shit. I don't even care who wins if it's a good match.
Yeah, and Terry, Kevin Dunn has nothing to do with the edits of stuff like this.
Especially the car crash TV camera angle. Kevin Dunn's like, if anything, he's anti that.
Yeah, but for a Money in the Bank match that's going to be edited in an editing room, Kevin Dunn has nothing to do with it. Kevin Dunn's in a production truck for live TV. He's there worrying about the live matches of the PC. He has nothing to do with the editing of how this Money in the Bank's probably going to look, or how the Boneyard looked.
So after this, we had Sheamus versus Leon Ruff. Quick squash match.
Who?
Leon Ruff, he's enhancement talent. He's from Evolve Wrestling.
Hey, good for him. Better for Sheamus. Continue to build him. I have no problem with that. Did nothing for me, but good for him.
Good squash match. Vicious offense. Yeah, Leon Ruff's actually been a jobber for them on NXT, Raw, and SmackDown now since December.
Dude, this is why I've always liked Sheamus, though. Sheamus, his shit looks different.
Yeah.
He hits harder, but he's safe when he does it. And if you watch, I've always told everybody watches, listens to our show, our podcast rather, you're supposed to, when you're bigger, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I used to have this problem. And it's not working the way I look, meaning when it was time to lay shit in, like broad forearms to the back or broad forearms to the chest to make that big noise, you're supposed to be able to do that to one another. I was always so scared of injuring people that it took me some years to get to that place. But Sheamus came out of the gates with that type of offense, and I think it's always separated him, differentiated him from other talents and other big men, quite frankly. He can be boring at times, right? I get that, but at least his shit is laid in, and when he hits you, you know that guy's been hit, so there's some legitimacy to it at least.
Yeah.
When he first came in, I always loved the fact that he works with physical, and he encouraged others to work physical with him, and I love that. I love that he has such pale complexion that you see every bruise and welt that he has.
Yes. I always dug that, especially as a heel.
Yeah.
Cena and others. Cena never chopped, but he would chop him for that reason.
Yep.
So then we got a look at another Jeff Hardy part 4, the story of Jeff Hardy, but they did announce next week he's going to be back. So him and Sheamus are finally going to get to face off. Probably setting up a match for Money in the Bank. I mean, maybe is that too soon?
I really don't know who I'd predict to win this either, by the way.
Yeah.
Because both are I feel like they're both being fake enhanced right now. They're both being kind of like fakely built. I don't really believe either one are going to have any main event potential after this. I don't think that's what they're going for. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to make of it.
I would not, Jeff Hardy's supposed to be, I think, on SmackDown next Friday. I would not have him on SmackDown next Friday and then say 2 days later we're going to have this match of he and Sheamus at Money in the Bank. Yeah, they spent the last 3 or 4 weeks showing Jeff Hardy's comeback story. They've altered the timeline of his arrest and such to make it fit their narrative, and they've had Sheamus time. But you can get more out of this. Like, you don't need to. Money in the Bank does not need this. Basically, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. You can draw this out and get another draw, another payoff somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
Mandy 319, thank you for the $5 super chat. Making a little crack about saying for a new mic from Matt. Matt, is the sound coming through your AirPods or is it your phone? On the what you're
Why
talking?
Would you guys not on my AirPods? Why would you guys not tell me this before we started? We've been talking this whole time.
It sounded fine to me. I mean, I know what I do.
I can hear you fine.
I hear you fine.
Oh.
Yeah, we need to talk to Moneybags Geary and get him to send you out something that's Bluetooth.
He did. I just can't use. I do. He did. Remember, he gave me that beautiful microphone.
Yeah.
But for now, until we get back to normal, I got to do out of here.
We could probably get one that works with your phone, though. We could probably get something that rigs up or hooks up to your phone that's a little better. I'll look into that.
But what I don't like, and this has been a problem from day one, when any of you all talk, I can't talk over you. It's always been like that since the beginning of this show for me, years ago even. If I'm talking, Glenn, if you were to cut me off, your voice will jump over mine and we won't hear me.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. We'll figure it out. What I do, because I try and maintain a consistent sound level, Matt, it's when you're here, I back up off my, when you're outside, I back up off my mic a little bit. So that way, if somebody turns up the volume, we're at least all roughly at the same level. Because that's the key, right? What you don't want is you don't want one person super loud and then
I'm saying it's the hookup. Like right now, when I try to talk, I guarantee you to the fans, they don't hear me as well as they are right now when none of you are talking right now. But when you guys start talking back and forth, we can't go back and forth because there's a connection issue.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's weird. I don't know how to explain
it. We'll figure it out.
It's not as good. Like, for instance, Ryback, when he was on the air with us, he didn't have that issue. He had one of your kind of like setups where it sounds good and nobody can talk over him. Like he can cut you guys off in the middle of a sentence. I can't do that with you guys.
Now, my wife would say that's my dream scenario, and probably why I invest in like a $600 microphone. So when I talk, no one can talk over me. But that's just her projecting. Anyhow,
that's just her keeping the marriage alive.
It's not that I love the sound of my own voice. Sometimes I'm just so impressed with the things that I say. That's what it is. Not the sound. The content is what I love. But anyhow, we had Kayla Braxton backstage with Otis and Mandy Rose ahead of Mandy's qualifying match against Carmella for Money in the Bank. Now, Sonya Deville came out with a mic during this, distracted Mandy, and Carmella got a pretty easy win. I did respect, it's the biggest pet peeve, but that Sonya Deville managed to work bitch into a sentence twice, saying karma is a bitch, so bring it on. And then Carmella pinned Rose for the pin and the win to qualify. After Rose was slow to recover, Otis was backstage checking on her. And then Dolph coming, showing, maybe little signs of a baby face, checking on Mandy, seeing if she was okay. And then Dolph had a segment with Sonya, which I want to talk about in a second. But what did you think of this match, Matt? And Sonya's promo?
Our promo was good. I liked her promo. Good. She's got everything to be a bigger star, obviously. They're doing something with her right now, finally. Hopefully this is it. Obviously, this felt like this was set up, the storyline in general, to make Mandy the bigger star, but I still have higher hopes that it's going to be Deville.
Yeah. Well, I think I would be shocked if they don't have a match on the card at Money in the Bank. That seems.
But it's going to be. What I don't like about that is Deville will have to lose. I don't want that to happen yet.
Yeah, I kind of get where Matt's coming from. This is set up that Mandy's to be the bigger star, but Sonya's looking good. She's fiery. She's got an edge to her now. She's not just the best friend bopping around with Mandy. So this is I hope they can find a way where they can elevate both girls somehow out of this whenever they have their blow off.
And this is definitely not right of me. I'm supposed to just watch wrestling for what it is, just wrestling. I'm not supposed to care about outside entities and who they are in real life and what their likes and dislikes are, whatever the fuck. But for whatever reason, I'm more interested in Deville because I think she adds more value for that company in so many other avenues that she's able to help that company with, quite frankly. And little girls watching this show every single week, okay? I just think there's so much more value in her because of her different things that she's able to do that, you know what I mean? I know it sounds weird, but I can't help but notice that, right?
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
It's not weird, Matt. It's not any. Your context and your reasoning is no different than how you and I praise Lacey Evans. It's just when you think about from a marketing standpoint of what can this do for the company outside of the bell to bell, the reasons we like Lacey and her background is no different than what you're saying about Sonya. It's different reasons. It's different reasons, but it's under the same intention.
The extra stuff that comes with the package that can help the company And and again, little girls out there watching, and Lacey's another good example of little girls out there watching and going, "Holy shit, I want to be that mom when I grow up. I want to be like that."
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about Sonya's backstage segment with Dolph. I had to admit that I found it very strange that Dolph and Mandy were supposedly dating in storyline for 2 months, but Sonya and Dolph had so much like chemistry and like, dare I say, like sexual tension between them when they were talking backstage in that promo, that it was very hard to believe now about the whole Dolph Mandy thing. I think Sonya and Dolph actually are a very good pair, even in a platonic sense, which makes sense given the out of ring elements. But yeah, I thought they came across great in that promo.
Maybe the hacker will show up and reveal some video that shows some more of the Dolph Sonya situation.
Could the hacker be Sonya?
I'd be in favor of that.
Duh.
She got outed by the hacker.
She outed herself.
She outed herself.
It was a pre-tape.
Maybe Dolph is the hacker and he wanted to get Sonya for himself. I don't know.
Do you think Dolph Ziggler, the character, looks like the kind of guy who can like even navigate his email, let alone hacking computer systems?
No. Dolph Ziggler, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler, the character, is the dude who gets caught sending DPs to girls. That's his character.
Yes, Dolph Ziggler.
His character.
Dolph Ziggler, the character, is the kind of guy who has a Hotmail address that ends. His email address ends in 69. It's like Dolph Ziggler 69 at hotmail.com.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm so surprised that Ziggler has not yet had a pair of ring gear and tights that has like the Brazzers logo. It's like a ripoff, like the Brazzers logo, or like Pornhub or something.
100%.
It says like Dolph, and then like it's in the same font. I'm surprised it doesn't go on that route. Because I can remember an old Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder. I think it was the True Long Island story where Dolph's like, just tell Brazzers I don't want the contract. Like he was doing like a BS phone call.
Sonya's too good for Dolph.
From that company.
Oh, did he?
She's what? Stupid for Dolph?
No, I'm sorry, Matt. What were you saying?
I think he dated a porn star.
Huh. From
Brazzers. But,
I think.
Interesting. Like someone we would have heard of, or just like.
I could have sworn. Am I crazy for saying this?
I think you
remember she's a huge wrestling fan.
Well, he dated Amy Schumer, the actress, but then I do think.
Well, I know that.
But I do think you're right, Matt, because back in like the same time I'm talking about, like 2011, 2012, when I was on the radio, interviewing the porn stars, all of them would like talk about Dolph Ziggler and wrestling. That's like the one wrestler they knew. So I think he's definitely infiltrated the porn business somewhere along the way.
Somewhere, I forget the girl's name though. She's like championship belts. She's a John Cena mark. I sort of gotta give her a name, but suppose it was a big deal in that industry. Oh well.
Interesting.
Later, I'm sure.
We've got a show to recap. Also, I want to really delve into Justin's past interviewing a lot of adult film entertainers. But just dropping that bomb, putting it out there. Justin, don't expect us not to hop on that one.
You can just Google images and videos. Some of the videos on YouTube aren't there anymore, but you can just Google.
Interesting. You're a man of mystery, Justin LaBar. with your leather blazer and your backwards baseball cap.
I don't even get a response for it. I'm sitting here Googling Dolph Ziggler Brazzers, worried about what's going to come up.
You don't want that in your history.
Why do you think that's a blazer? That's a jacket.
Is it a jacket? It looks like a blazer. It looks kind of like a Hefner-esque leather blazer.
It's actually one of the
back Cotter.
This is actually one of the ones I used to wear I'd wear to the ring, and it has like my airbrush stuff on the back, the reality check, and all that stuff.
It's the lapels, Matt. That's to me what it's the lapels look like. Blazer lapels.
Can we talk about the fact that he's a mark and wearing his ring gear on the show right now? Like,
this one I've never wore to the ring. This one, no. Actually, no. I have to stand up for myself. This is a brand new. This is a brand new one that does not yet have the airbrush on it. I'm actually breaking it in on the sides. I've never worn it to a show. I've never worn it. This is a new one I ordered, and I want to see if it fit. I put it on a fit. I was like, I'll wear it on camera tonight to see if I like myself on camera before I get it ready for a ring. So I've never. It's like a test.
It doesn't even show all of it. It literally shows like 1 inch of it on the perimeter.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how I felt and did I feel comfortable. That's all.
You were hoping we were going to talk about this.
No, I didn't.
You were hoping we were going to bring this up.
What? I would have done a lot better job bringing it up if I wanted you to bring it up.
Matt, how come you never wear your ring gear on the podcast? Bust out the silver trunks, you know?
Because this shit was then there would be no fans on here.
All right, the porn star that loved that was a big deal with John. The porn star that had a crush on John Cena had all the belts. That was Kendra Lust, but I can't find any. Can't find any link.
Nothing with Dolph.
I haven't found a link yet to her and Dolph. But here's from Wrestling Inc. Here's Kendra Lust.
Yeah, that's her gimmick, or that was her gimmick.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
She was on the wrestling sites with that. I remember one day, but I swear there's something with Dolph in this. Maybe not her, but I don't know. Something with Brazzers.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyhow, really out of the loop on porn. That's one thing as I've gotten older and it's become more prevalent. Who could possibly keep up? When we were young men, Matt, you could keep up with pornography. There were like 10 porn stars, 3 companies putting out videos. There was no internet.
I'll be honest. I feel that. Yes. Okay. Good. You're about to make me feel really old there because I was going to say I couldn't name any. I just remember Debbie Does Dallas and video cassette tapes. That's it.
Matt, here's what you might be thinking about. There was Dolph Ziggler and Goldberg showed no sign of letting up when the WWE stars clashed at a porn star's birthday, and it was Kendra Lust's birthday party. So that's what. Okay, so that's what you're thinking of right there. Dana Brooke also there.
Huh.
Picture
Very interesting.
Well, hello, they're people too. They have friends that are,
It's true. Actually, and if you think about it, there's probably a lot of similarities between the wrestling business and the adult entertainment and porn business stripping.
No question. Honestly. Yeah. No question. Yes,
there is, and that's actually how I ended up getting the gig on radio to interview because it looped right into right after my wrestling talk show I did, and it was like the same audience. And there's so many parallels. Both use stage names. Both try to protect their personal life and professional life. Both from the performance side and how you go to get a pop when you're doing your performance. Different kind of pops here. There's a lot of parallels. You're always working.
Weird guys shooting scenes in a warehouse. You're not sure what he's using them for. Very similar.
Where's Robbie E? The only person that will get this joke.
That was I loved your interview with Robbie E, Matt, but that was like the most there's a lot to unpack there. Somebody should do a documentary.
My car right there. Okay, so this guy would have all the cruiserweights.
Yeah.
In the independent. It was my first time ever doing indies. I just got my release from WWE. I was about to go to Japan, so it was my first time ever accepting an indie booking. So I don't know which way up and which way is down. I have no idea. Yeah. So I get flown in somewhere, and I see Robbie E, who I remember. He did a squash match with me on SmackDown. So I'm hanging with him at the airport, waiting for this promoter to come get us. He has this little shitter beater of a car. It's tiny, and I don't know how I'm gonna fit in it. But somehow I squeeze my big gorilla ass into the front seat, and there's like 4 cruiserweights fitting in the back, including Robbie E. And Robbie's laughing the whole way there because he knows I have no idea what I'm getting into. He knows I don't know anything. He knows this already because we're friends at this point. And so he's just asking questions along the car ride to the promoter. And I forget the damn freaking guy's name, the promoter. But finally, when we're on the way there, Robbie is like, so there's Matt, there's not going to be any fans there, right? And I was like, wait, what? Why? And then the promoter's like, oh, you'll see when we get there. You'll see when we get there. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. How are you going to get your money back for what you paid me to come? Because he prepaid for me and everything. I received my money up front. And I'm like, how are you going to get your money back, sir? I'm not selling any gimmicks. There's no half deal here where I give you half the money I make from gimmicks or whatever. How are you going to get your money back? He's like, oh, I'll get my money back. And we get to the arena. No fans are there. Sonny Siaki, he pulls me aside. Now, he's probably the only other bigger guy there besides me. The rest of them are like Robbie E size, cruiserweights. Pretty boy cruiserweights, okay, and then Matt Morgan. This guy keeps the tapes. He has us wrestle matches, and then he keeps the tapes of the matches. And I go, wait, what? What do you do with them? He's like, I go, do you sell them? He's like, no, it's for me. I keep them. I watch them. I go, that's the fucking weirdest thing I've ever heard. No offense. That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard. And I don't know if I want to continue with this. And I left. I went outside, and they came out to go. Like some of the other guys that knew me, like Sonny and them, like kind of came to bring me back in. They're like, dude, just this. It's not what you think. It's not crazy. The guy's crazy, but it's an easy payday. You're just wrestling somebody. There's nothing weird. Just do. I'm like, this is weird stuff, guys.
So we've learned on this podcast in recent weeks that Matt Morgan is the most trusting individual on earth. He gets into limos with guys in suits to go like have unsanctioned cage fights. He accepts money and airplane tickets to fly out to mysterious benefactors and wrestle matches in a warehouse. And we don't know what the guy does with the tapes. Matt, have you ever bought speakers in a parking lot from someone in a white van?
You think everyone right now is going to, all across America is watching this, they're going to think I'm lying. It was not a white van. I was in Louisville, Kentucky at OVW at the time, and I did buy speakers out of a parking lot. Yes.
Yeah.
I swear to Christ. I can tell you where. St. Matthews Mall. Those you live in Louisville, Kentucky, no, I'm not lying.
Oh, my God.
He fell for the white van speaker scam.
I'm acting like I'm bragging about this or something. This is terrible.
Now, how much money have you given to like the Mag Crew kids, where it's like I'm trying to sell magazines for a contest and the winner gets a scholarship? You know that's a huge scam, right? Those kids are all like runaways, enslaved.
And there's a guy that usually comes picks them up, right, and drives them different parts. Even with that, I will give them cash and say I don't want any stupid magazines.
That's good. Last time one of those
I know
kids,
what the deal is with that.
Yeah, I gave the kid like a hotline to call to get like a bus ticket home the last time one came to my door. But a lot of people don't know about the Mag Crew scam or the white van speaker scam. Like, so it's good. It's good to, educate people. The scam is they're not good speakers. That's the scam.
Mine were TV speakers, by the way, to be correct.
Okay. But it was the same story. I was just installing stuff over at this guy's house, and we had too much left over. And, my boss wants me to bring it back to the warehouse, but if you give me like $100, I'll sell you these speakers, man. It's high quality stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Matt Morgan is a very trusting individual. That is what we've learned in this podcast. Let's talk about the New Day versus the Forgotten Sons. This match, they are putting the Forgotten Sons over. I am shocked actually that they're like just
I am
so
too, but
big
I
on
like
this.
it. I do like it, bro. I do like it. This is where I have a hard time because I love Gunner. I'm friends with him, like real life friends. So it's hard for me to watch it and not say, if he wasn't in it, would I really think this is a cool angle and this is a cool story? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? So I have that problem with Joe too.
I think Miz and Morrison were really selling it hard tonight. I mean, the Forgotten Sons getting the win. I think this is going better without an audience. I think an audience would be wutting the hell out of these guys.
Yeah, I do.
Because the New Day plays. I mean, the New Day is such a big audience fan favorite. I think this is benefiting the Forgotten Sons.
I think you're right.
I
agree.
Quick follow-up. Antoine Fair paid $2 to say it was BB Jones was another adult film star who was involved with Dolph Ziggler.
She was involved with Rob Gronkowski. There's some famous stuff of that, but I don't know if I don't know if the Dolph Ziggler was ever.
Interesting.
Thank you for the comment, the chat comment, though.
Yes. Actually, I'm a little pissed about this. They had the interview with Tamina backstage. Why didn't they show that Tamina video promo that was on Twitter last week? You guys know the one I'm talking about, where she was doing the happy thing, and that was so good.
They should have showed that. That would have done more for her.
Yeah, and said they had Sasha talking to her, and then it devolved into a fight backstage. Yeah,
and that's why, because they had to transition into what they had to transition into. They had to get Sasha in it as well. So I guess that's why. I hope that's the reason.
Yeah, I just think it could have been so much more.
I hope it's not because they saw that thing on Twitter was dope and it was good and people loved it. Oh, wait a minute, we don't want to push her that much. And then not, I hate when they do that to people all the time. They did it to Zack Ryder for about 10 years there. So they do that.
I mean, I love when somebody that's not utilized gets a surprise win or gets an opportunity. I will pop for that every time. And with Tamina, she's probably the most slept on. I know she had some injuries, but probably the most slept on woman in the entire division. She's never even had like a Dana Brooke moment until this.
It's true. It is true. And I don't know how much of that is because of injury.
Yeah.
But she's a hell of an athlete, dude. Come off the top rope. And she's all muscle like that.
Yeah.
Not crush these girls every time she does it. Like, she's a hell of an athlete, dude. That was a great great. You notice they don't call it a super kick when they have any of the Samoan characters over the years throw it. It's always called a thrust kick or it's called a savate kick.
Yeah.
They never call it a super kick. Go back in time and watch, wrestling fans. I challenge you to find a Samoan heritage wrestler for WWE. That's how they're putting them out there to the public. Throw a kick like that. Although Roman Reigns, I could see them making the exception if he were to throw a super kick.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to beat Bayley, which is unfortunate. I would be happy if she did. Sorry.
Really quick, Rikishi had the best savate kick of them all. His savate kick was awesome. Go ahead.
But yeah, watch if you haven't seen this Tamina promo from last week. It's the personality we've seen with her backstage. I mean, she's like going from smiling to mean. It was very good. It was very good. This tonight was just okay. We had Sasha and Bayley brawling with Tamina and Lacey. And then we closed with the Money in the Bank qualifier match, Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Decent length match. These guys got their stuff in. Ultimately, though, Otis ended up picking up the win, and he's going to Money in the Bank.
Yep.
If these shows were in front of crowds, Otis would be getting, I think, some of the biggest pops. I mean, they've really stuck to pushing him.
I'm sure he would. He definitely would, but I still don't care.
Yes, I'm not sure which one of this is for. James Young, $2 from one St. Matthews Mall shoe shopper to another.
There you go. James Young knows his stuff.
Word's out where Matt Morgan gets his shoes.
No, that's where Matt Morgan's got the speakers.
Oh, the speakers. Yes. We said shoe shopper. Yes, I saw the shoes. It's funny you remember the location of where you bought the speakers specifically.
Yes. Oh, want to know why I remember it so well? Because that same day, a guy on a mountain bike was driving in the middle of the street like he was a car. I don't do well with that. Just all the things being equal right now. I'm telling the truth. I don't like that. I don't like when they're going 2 miles an hour on purpose and staying in the middle of the road. I'm a car too, stuff. And this guy was doing that, and he's doing it on purpose. He was going slow and caught this huge line. I was going to be late for wrestling practice because of it on the way to the Davis Arena. So I hit my horn, obviously. Can I please get past you? Please go on the side. So I go by. I'm like, come on, guy, get on the sidewalk. This guy pulls out a knife, okay? And sure enough, I get stuck behind a car in front of me now that's going really, really slow. And I keep looking in my rearview mirror, and mountain bike guy with like a bicycle riding gear on, like super tight clothes and stuff, is driving down the street. I can see with his hands on his handlebars with his knife sticking out, trying to approach my the Jeep Cherokee it does, and trying to approach me with it. Finally, I pulled into that St. Matthews Mall parking lot. I'm like, dude, what are you gonna do with that? Because I'm gonna eat it. Is what I'm gonna do. What are you gonna do with it? And he's like, I'm sorry. He put his shit away, got on his bike, and boom, hightailed it out of there. Fast.
God, but why does Longwood need police, Matt? As mayor, why aren't you just driving around, keeping the peace between everyone?
Well, because people are not expecting a 7-foot Neanderthal to get out of the car. People are tough when they see just your face in the window. It's a whole different story when they see,
Yeah, you have those moments in movies all the time, like where the big guy gets out and looks, the guy's talking tough, and then you stand fully up, and then they shut up, they apologize, sorry, Mr. Morgan, I was in the wrong, Mr.
Especially
Morgan.
When they started.
Yeah,
especially when they started. Guys pulling a knife and trying to creep up to my car from the back on his bike.
So Antoine, man, our audience is very into pornography. Antoine Fair, $5, saying
yes,
he found a Wrestling Inc. article that said it was not true in 2011.
I just found the same article. So yeah, so it was from 2011. There was an article. People thought that BB Jones, the porn star, was dating Dolph Ziggler. She tweeted, "No, I'm not dating him." Dolph also denied it. Yeah, so that might have been who you were thinking on that, but they both deny it. But I do know it's a WWE connection. Like I said, I interviewed her not long after this, before she retired, and she was connected to Rob Gronkowski at the time when he was still playing. So she still has a little WWE crossover.
I've never heard of her name though. So this other girl,
BB Jones, has been retired. She was hot for like a year. She retired like 7, 8 years ago. She went and had family, so she's not been around for.
Whether he dated someone or not, I'm telling you right now, there's a connection from Dolph and Brazzers. I'm telling you there is. But go ahead, continue with the show because my battery's running low here.
No, that was it for the show. Otis is going to Money in the Bank. this was SmackDown. In the words of Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, it was there. Justin, what are the news stories that we have to cover?
2 news stories. This happened 2 days ago on Wednesday. Curtis Axel, no longer with WWE. Of course, you might remember him. He is the third generation star, son of Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, grandson of Larry the Axe Hennig. Been with WWE since 2007. They switched him from Michael McGillicuddy, remember that, to Curtis Axel.
Oh, yes.
Had a little bit of had some runs every now and again, but nothing as of late.
Triple H. He pinned Triple H.
He did on a Raw.
Was the Intercontinental Champion? Was he not?
Yes, he was. So he's released. Now, it's interesting to note, we noted on one of the podcasts recently this week, one of the news items was I noted how WrestleVotes had talked about WWE might be more willing to let people go if they ask for the release. Right. And there's been some thought, nobody's been able to confirm it, there's been some thought that this might be a case of that he has to get out.
It would make total sense. They're not using them. Yeah. He's got to have banked some pretty good money along the way, especially that long. I was able to bank great money in just 3 years. I can't imagine what he's banked.
He's been there since 2007, so yeah.
Good Lord. 13 years. Holy crap.
And the other news item we'll touch on real quick, this coming from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. You may have noticed tonight and last Friday, Sami Zayn not with Nakamura and Cesaro. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reporting that Sami Zayn has made the decision that he is going to stay away from WWE TV due to concerns with COVID-19 going on.
Does he have upper respiratory issues?
No clue. But but what I do know is he's also been very outspoken. He's very outspoken politically. He's been outspoken about the Saudi Arabia shows. He's been outspoken against President Trump. So who knows? Maybe politically he just doesn't agree with doing the shows. I don't know. But he said, according to
spoken about President Trump.
Yes, he wants. I believe he once compared, and the chat room will go back to that. I believe Sami Zayn once got on social media and made some comparison to President Trump and to Nazi Germany and is
all right, Sami Zayn, you just moved to number 100 on my list from number 5. But continue.
I don't know.
That's what I got.
Just make it weird.
I don't know. Wrestler, I enjoy when I learn things about wrestlers' personal lives, but I will say that when it comes to politics and belief outside of wrestling, more often than not, I'm disappointed. Whether it's finding out AJ Styles is a flat earther, or Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas believe in the lizard people, which there was a reference to the lizard people tonight in the Firefly Funhouse. Yes. There's just sometimes you find stuff you agree with, which is great. I don't want to get into who's right, who's wrong. Or opinion. Yeah, but
that's why it's double sword. Look at me. I'm an athlete who's able to transition into leading a city and being, you know what I mean? But by the same token, if I was still in that sports genre, if I was that loud about it, I would run that risk of turning literally 50% of people off with a political opinion. That's how this world works. Yes. There's always going to be half that agree. There's going to be half that think you're nuts and we hate you for saying it. So it's very important that athletes be a little bit more. It's tough because I want to say I respect them for having an opinion at least and maybe having the balls to say it, right?
Sure.
But then by the same token, me as a fan of them, it does diminish it a little bit. I was a huge LeBron guy. LeBron was my Michael Jordan, my man crush in my 40s now, right? And I still love LeBron, but not as much as I used to because of his things he said in the past.
I think and my Twitter. I mean, this amount. I think we're both kind of the same way about this. Is we will talk about issues and our viewpoints on issues, but I don't know. I don't see a lot of overtly political stuff in your feed. In mine, I'm very selective about the things that I want to discuss. And part of the reason why is because I look at the chat room. We are in a very polarized nation. People have very strong beliefs either way, and it's not for me to say you're right or you're wrong. I mean, believe me, when it's me alone yelling at cable news, it's a different thing.
There's too much of it anyway. I'd rather shoot the shit with them all about wrestling, sports, your families, real life, getting guys that are going into rehab, how they're getting prepared for it, like we've done with some of our watchers that watch this. Real life things that are fun to talk about in a day and age where there is too much polarization right now. Way too much of a big wall and divide between us all.
Yeah.
I don't want to add to it.
And it comes in with wrestling sometimes. I mean, even when talking about reopening, and I think we've debated that on this show. But I think for the most part, though, it's we live in a world where, regardless of what your opinion is, good news, there are 24-hour-a-day channels that will cater to your point of view and just ram it so far down your throat or in whatever orifice of you choose to where you can get enough of that. You don't need that from us. Now, aside from wrestlers, I'm more curious what BB Jones and Kendra Lust think about politics. I mean, who's Ron Jeremy voting for in this fall's election? Like, let's talk about porn stars' views on politics. That would be interesting.
I still want to know that connection though with Dolph. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up.
I spent half his podcast on Google. I'll have to do more. I don't know.
Was he on Howard Stern ever? Was Dolph on Howard Stern ever? Maybe. I'm trying to think of where I heard this.
Maybe. Like I said, I know there's a funny bit I remember of Dolph mentioning Brazzers in like a Zack Ryder video, but I don't know.
Is that it? Because I'm so out of the game, I never knew what Brazzers was until Dolph said it. That's how I know he said something like this. Or had something to do with it.
Maybe. I mean, this is like 8-9 years ago that video. It was like when Zach was doing his internet viral videos.
Maybe that's
on Brazzers?
Yes, on Brazzers.
Anyway,
this would have been a great podcast for Blue Chew to sponsor this episode.
You know, I try and I want the overkill with it, you know, right now with everything that's going on. I think people that know. And thank you for using our code and supporting our sponsors. Our sponsors are very happy with us. So thank you.
Well, that guy that DM'd you, Blue Chew, he could pull up some porn. He doesn't Blue Chew with himself. He's all right. This is all would have tied in, Glenn.
So on that note, Matt, I hope that was worth wasting some battery on. But we're going to be back here Monday night on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Me, Matt Morgan, and Raj Giri. Nobody tell Raj about this. Raj has no clue what's going on this podcast.
No idea. None.
But we're going to hit him up about, Justin, your suggestion, the Money in the Bank fundraiser.
Yeah.
We're going to find a COVID-19 charity. Matt, I liked your idea of a charity that works with the homeless and people displaced during all this. We're going to do some good on our Money in the Bank podcast. We'll have more details on that soon. He's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Justin LaBar. Matt Glenn Rubenstein. Until next time, we will catch you back here on the